And we have seen some of the features of your CSS3, like radius, etc. stuff. And we have even seen the shadow effect for the containers, and we started with the CSS transform property. Okay, under the transform, we have seen the rotate property along with the scale property. So there are other two properties, which is called the skewness and translate. So let's have a look on that. Guys, I'm not feeling a bit not well. Make sure, if my voice is not clear, please let me know. I'll make it louder. Okay. So coming to this, let me create an example for today. December 7th. CSS3. CSS3 transform. Okay, in between, Faraz, he's having a question. Is it possible to rotate an image? Yes, it is possible for us. Like yesterday, like whatever the container we have created, right? Say, for example, here, we could able to rotate this div guy, right? Whatever the div guy having a container as a class. One option is either you put an image inside that container, or directly for an image, you can specify this rotate property. Any type of content or container can be rotated or transformed. Okay, not just only the content. In our example, we have seen the content, but under this, if you go with something called as an image tag or etc., it is possible to rotate. Or else you can create a separate image here. Okay, by specifying the SRC. Now you give the same class here. It is also possible to rotate. Okay.
Sir, if only I cursor on that, then it's rotated.
Yeah, then hover, right? Now if you say container, remember like yesterday I did the scaling property. When I mouse out, then only it was happening.
It's bigger than, yes.
Yeah, so the same way, dot container, colon, hover, then you use the transform property, it should work. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so coming back to the skewness, guys. So skewness is almost like the transform property with the rotate. Only difference is you could able to rotate with 2 axes. Okay, so let me write the piece of code. Demonstrating CSS transform with skew. Okay, so if you reload this page once, open the default browser. This is how it is. Okay. Now, what is the use of this skew property? Using this skew, say for example, transform, we will be using the skewness. Under the skew, either you can specify the only x-axis degrees, say something called as 10 degrees, almost like rotate. When you open this guy in the browser, this is how the skewness is happening. So we could able to skew that guy, rotate that guy. In the same way, at a time, like when you see in the transform with rotate property, at a time, it is not possible to specify both x-axis and y-axis. But using your skewness, at a time, we could able to specify, like if you don't specify the second value, by default, it takes x value. If you want to go with x value also, so you can simply say 20 degrees. So both at a time, you could able to rotate. So see here, both the skewness are getting applied. This is the only difference between the skew and the rotate guy. And if at all you want to go with only y-axis, not the x-axis, then you can simply go with the skew y, or you can simply say skew x. So both methods are possible. Am I clear? So either using the skew property, if you pass a single value, okay, 1 second, let me comment on this guy. You can pass a single value. If you pass a single value, by default, it takes to the x-axis. But if you want to take it only the y-axis, then you can make use of skew y or skew x methods for the transform property. Am I clear? Next.
Yes, sir.
Along with this guy, let me comment out this guy. Along with this, there is something called as container. Let us say hover. Let me put the CSS transform with translate also here itself. So I say translate, say something called as 20px comma 30px. Okay, let us see what actually this translate means. Now, if you come back and reload the page, now whenever I mouse over on this guy, do you see the element is moving its position? Yes. So what do you mean by this transform with translate property? Using the translate property, you could able to move the position of the element by specifying the XY points here. Okay, by using the translate method, we could able to specify the new position. Earlier, in order to move an element to the required position, we used to go with position absolute, then we used to go with left and right, right? So without using that, you can even transform the element by using this translate property. Okay, so this is the important concept of your CSS3, guys, the transform, which is taking 4 values, either the rotate or the skewness or the scale property or the translate property. So any questions up to this, guys? Clear everyone? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. Yes, sir. So the another important concept of your CSS3, guys, which is like applying the animation. Earlier, in order to get the animation, we used to depend upon the JavaScript code, but now without even depending on the JavaScript, just by using your CSS, we could able to apply the animation, which we call it as keyframes. CSS3 keyframes, one of the very, very, very important concept of your CSS3. Okay. So before going with the keyframes, let me create a simple example. Let us say I have a class container. Say some content is there. Okay, this is how the container is coming. Let me put some border. Okay, this is how I have a very simple container. Okay, my requirement is I want to move this container to the complete right side of the page or at the bottom or whatever it is. I want to move to a new position. So if we don't apply any of the position, you see that by default, this is coming over here. But if you say some position, absolute, I say right of say some 30 pixel. Okay, top of say something called as 100 pixel. This is what my requirement is. Now, if you come back to the page, reload the page. This is how the container you could see. So the very first question what you might be getting is, why don't I see this guy? Why don't I see this guy on the first left top here? By default, it is getting rendered on the left top of the container. But once you apply this position property, directly you could able to see that guy on the right side of the container. Okay. Now, what I'm saying is, so try to understand the concept here, guys, before actually going. Now, what I'm saying is, assume this is your main body over here. Okay. Now, under this, you are going to take a very simple box, okay, which you are taking with the background color of yellow. This is what we have done. Okay. Now, on load of the page, actually this box guy is getting rendered on the left top of the container. But when you add the position property absolute and you're giving the right and left properties, what is going to happen on load of the page, you don't get to see this position, but by default, you are directly see this guy getting rendered like this. Understood everyone? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, why the reason we couldn't able to see that the element is moving from so and so position? We couldn't able to see with your eye, right? It was too fast that by default getting rendered on the left top corner. And later after the CSS properties we apply, so whatever the properties we applied, within like microseconds of time, it is just moving over there. So you cannot see that element moving over here. Now what I say is, when the element is moving from its default position to the destination position, can I say that whatever the time it has taken is equal to 100%? Yes or no? By default, it may take some 1 second, or it may take some 10 microseconds, some 15 microseconds, whatever the time it will be. The time from starting to the ending, we can say that 100% time it is taking in order to finish this. Now, assume like it is 10 seconds it is taking to move from one position to another position. Now, the 100% of the time is 10 seconds. Now, when I say when it is 50% in the sense, 5 seconds, isn't it? So what I want to say is, why don't I make the element to render with a delay time? I want to add some wow effect to this. I know that by default, it is, I mean, whenever you apply the CSS, it is moving from this position to this position, very faster way. You can't see that moving position here. Now, what I want to do is, let us apply some delay time. I want to say that, boss, you take some 15 seconds or 20 seconds of time in order to move from one position to another position. I mean, the default position to the destination position. Now, in between, at a percentage level, you can put some animation in such a way. For example, I say that when it is 10%, you move the element something like this. When it is 15%, you move the position like this. When it is something else, when it is something. So like this, if I do these type of animations, see here, I'm not directly going here, but I'm coming over here. And finally, after 15 seconds of time, I will get render on the page. So the concept of controlling the look and feel of a container in a percentage wise, we call it as a keyframes. Using your keyframes, we can specify the corresponding CSS. Under this 1% to 100%, whatever the look and feel you want to give, you can give it out. Okay, whatever the percentage you want to control, it's not mandated that you need to control 5%, 6%, 10%. No, between 1 to 100, you can specify anything. You can say that at 10% is so-and-so, 15% is so-and-so, 18% is so-and-so. You can specify anything, but once it reaches to the 100%, it will be coming with whatever the look and feel you give. So this concept, we call it as a keyframes. Are you clear with the concept, guys? Practically, I will show it. But first of all, are you clear with the concept? What are we going to do with the keyframes? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So let us practically implement these guys. So anytime you want to implement the keyframes, we are going to define a keyframe with something called as @keyframes. Is a predefined keyword in your CSS, using which you can specify whatever the user defined keyframe name is. So I say that some my styles. This is the keyframe name I'm giving. Okay, in order to define a keyframe, we use the predefined keyword called as @keyframes, following with the name of the keyframe. Under this keyframe, now you can specify at what percentage, what look and feel you wanted. Now I will say that at say something called as at 2%. Okay, I say that background color is something called as blue. Okay, I say the top position is 200 pixels. Okay, at 20%, see here, I'm not going with line by line. It's up to you, whatever the way you want it. I say something called as background color. Some green. The reason why I'm going with the background color is you can see the visibility here. Okay, I say some border radius, say some 50% and 50%. I want to see it as a circle also. I say 34% border radius, say some 10 pixel. Okay, top is going to be 20 pixel. Right is going to be say some 40 pixel. At 45%, I specify background color, say something called as green. Text align left. I mean, any CSS property you want, you can apply it. Okay, it's up to you. Text align left, and the left property or else top property 500 pixel. Right of 200 pixels, something like this. Say some 65%. Okay, like this, you define whatever the percentages you wanted. 90%, say some background color, say some red color. Okay, something like this. These are the percentages I would like to control when the element is actually moving from one position to another position. Okay, now the next part is how do you apply the keyframe to this container? Okay, whatever the container you have, how do you apply the keyframe here? So to apply the keyframe, we are going to make use of something called animation. Animation is a CSS property which will take what is the name of the keyframe and what is the total time you want to take for moving one element, that element from one position to another position. I can say something called as some 15 seconds. You can specify in both milliseconds or seconds. Okay. Now I just specified it as 5 millis, 15 milliseconds, 15 seconds. Now if you come back and let us see the magic over here, when I'm reloading the page, do you see the element is getting applied with the animation effects, whatever we have given?
Yes, sir.
And finally, I mean, still it is taking 15 seconds and finally it will reach to its original position. See here, at 100%, I'm actually reaching my final position. But in between, we could able to control the look and feel of the element while moving from one position to another position. So this concept, we call it as keyframes. And one more thing, what you have is, for example, by default, what is happening? It is starting with the 0th percentage, reaching the 100%, applying the CSS. What if you want to keep on continuing it? I want to show some animation effect and I want to keep on continue this type. Then you simply specify animation and say something called as infinite. Whenever you say infinite, it will be keep on. Once it reaches to the 100%, it will again start with the first percentage answer. See here. Okay, see here, once it reaches to the 100%, again, it is going for the first position again, and it will be keep on repeatedly done. Okay, so this concept, we call it as keyframes. Any questions on this, guys? Understood, everyone? Simple to understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And again, guys, as you see here, I have just used only the left property, top property, so that I can see that element is moving, but it's up to you guys. You say that I want to change the images also. At 1 second, one image will come. Second, at 10 seconds, something else image will come. You can change the background URL. So any type of CSS property can be applied for any type of percentages. If you see, we are not at all controlling the percentages in an order. You can say to 20, 45, what percentage you want, you could able to control that. So any questions?
So can we apply the animation effects for the images which were given in through URLs?
Yes, we can do that, right? Now let us say, for example, that's what I'm saying. If you say at a 20%, I want to say something called as background image. So I specified this background image as a URL. Okay, under that, I'm going to specify the image. Let us say some background images. Okay, something like this. In the same way, I would like to change the background image at 45% to something else. Okay, right now I'm just adding 2 of the images. Let us see this guy. If you reload this page, see here, the background image is getting changed. Now it is changing to something else. Later, we haven't changed the background image, so that images keep on continuing, and at final, it will be moving. Got it, guys? How do we control the background image also?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and there is another way of adding the keyframes, guys. One is either in the form of percentages, or the another way what you can do is you can even simply specify @keyframes. Okay, say something called as some sample. Under that, you can specify from. Okay, and you can specify only two things. I mean, where to start, when it is starting, what is the look and feel, when it is ending, what is the look and feel. Only these two things you can also specify, or you can even specify the percentages. So these are the two ways of defining a keyframe. Okay, clear everyone?
Yes, sir.
Guys, just give me a second. I'll be back in a minute. Just give me a second. Go through the code in by that time. Is being done. Now, when I say that, in order to finish this job, you said that you have to take how much percentage, I mean, how much value we have given? We have given something called as 15 seconds in order to finish a job. Now, what is the 50th percent? When the 50th percentage job will be done? Obviously, when it is 7.5, then we have it, right? Isn't it? So the percentage actually specifies how much of job is being done. So that is what we call it as, what do you say? What do we say that? Yeah, how much of job is being done indicated by something called as percentages. Okay. Next, Shakib is having the question, can we stop the animation at a particular percentage? Yes, if you see here, you can simply say, that's a very defined question, Shakib. You want to say that I want to stop at 45%. Okay, whatever your destination value you have, you just define until only 45, right? You don't need to have a different CSS property for that. Got it, Shakib? If you say, okay, if you want to say that, I mean, at a particular percentage, you want to stop it, you don't define the remaining all. You just need to stop it at 40, I mean, defining at 45. Under the 45 only, you define what properties you want to have the finally, that will be applied here. Okay.
Yeah.
Next. So this is about the keyframes, guys. As I said, you a very good way of implementing the animation without any dependency. Earlier, in order to implement these type of animation, we used to go with some, what do you say, SVG files or GIF files and all. But now using this animation property, we ourselves can create a GIF file and all. So you can do one assignment over here, guys. How we want it is, whenever we load on the page, the box has to come on the left top container. It has to directly reach to the right top. From there, it has to reach to the right bottom. Again, from there, it has to reach to the left bottom. And from there, it has to reach its original position. Implies the box has to travel to all the corner edges. So for this, you need to specify 4%, 0, 1%, 25, 50, 75, and 100. Okay, can you guys try that?
Yeah, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, good. So the next thing what we have is, so there is a CSS, another useful property, something called as transitions. Okay, so what is the use of this transition? Let's have a look on it. So let me define a container again. Okay, this is how we have a very simple container having some width and height and some background color, guys. My requirement is, I would like to say some container colon hover. On hover, my requirement is I would like to increase the width to say something called as 400 pixel. Right now it was 200, but whenever I mouse over on that guy, I would like to change the width to 400 pixel. Okay, let us see this guy. Now when I'm reloading this, whenever I mouse over on that guy, see here the width is changing to 200. When I remove it, it is coming back to its original width, whatever it is having. Now my requirement is whenever I mouse hovering on this guy, it is simply, I mean, from 200, it is simply applying 400. Just all of a sudden it is changing its properties. What if my requirement is I want to make this guy to follow a delay. Instead of directly getting applied, why don't you form a delay? Like take some 10 seconds of time in order to get it to 400 pixel. Take some 2 seconds. I mean, you can actually specify a delay time. The reason why I'm adding the delay is so that we can get some wow effect to this. Wow in the sense like animation effect. Instead of just suddenly happening, slowly it happens. So anytime any property is changing from one value to another, if you want to add some delay time, that is where you go with the transition property. So under this transition property, you can specify what is the property you want to apply. I want to say something called as width. And what is the total time you want to go for? I say something called 3 seconds of time. So what do you mean by this line number 18? For this container, anytime the width property is changing, doesn't matter whether it is decreasing or increasing, but anytime the width value, initial width value is changing to something else, you maintain a delay of 3 seconds of time. So now if you come back here and reload the page, now whenever I'm mouse hovering on it, do you see the width is getting increased? Yes. When I'm removing it, see, either it is increasing or shrinking, it is taking some time, and you see that wow effect over here. That is what the simple property that transition property is doing. Okay, in the same way, I would like to change some height property. Earlier the height is 150, let us say something called as height as 100 pixel. I want to minimize that guy. Okay, save this guy, come back here and reload the page. Now when I mouse over on this, see here, height is directly getting applied, but width is taking some animation. So what if I even want to apply the animation for the height property also? Using this transition property, you can add any number of CSS properties with a comma separated by providing the property name and the delay time. Now I say height of 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Now if you save this guy, come back here and reload the page. Now when I'm mouse hovering on it, see, even for height also we are getting that wow effect, animation effect, and for the width also it is getting. Like this, any CSS property you want, like the rotate. Earlier, in order to rotate it, we were actually going with the animation effect, right? Now let us say transform rotate something called as 120 degrees. Now, if you come back and reload the page, now if you see here, when a mouse hovering, it just simply rotated. What if I want to see some wow effect? What I'll say? I'll simply say transform, say something called as 2 seconds of time. Come back and reload the page. Now, when I see here, you can see the wow effect when it is getting rotated. Earlier, in order to make this wow effect for rotating, we used to depend upon the JavaScript coding, but now we don't need to. We can simply use this transition property with the what property has to be applied along with the delayed. Any questions up to this? Is everyone clear? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the same way, like again, if you ask me a question, boss, can I put an image here? Yeah, any container. You can put a background image, or you can directly apply to a image here. And remember earlier, yesterday, when I was showing you the scale property, okay, whenever I'm mouse hovering on it, zoom effect is happening. So if you want to maintain some delay when the zoom effect is happening, you can simply make use of the transition property again. Okay. Next, so this is the another CSS property. The next CSS property is what we have is multi-column layout. Okay, another useful content. CSS3 multi-column layout.html. Okay, let us get some multi-line text content. Okay, so if you see here, this is how my content is getting rendered on the page. Now, what if my requirement is I would like to load the content in the form of columns. Okay, you would have seen in the newspaper, right? In the newspaper, the content comes in the form of a column wise. It is not like continuously lines. They divide into some 6 columns or 8 columns, and under that the data gets rendered. Okay, so if at all you want to render the content in such a way, there is a concept, something called as multi-column layout in your CSS3. Okay, so the very first thing what you have is you can simply take out this container and you specify something called as style, some container. You can specify directly how many columns you want to render the content. Now, when I say column hyphen count, I simply say 4. Okay, now if you come back here, see the magic over here, reload the page, the content automatically got divided into 4 columns. And the other advantage what we have is it is a responsive web page. See here, responsive. I mean, whenever I'm going to minimize this, automatically the content within the column is getting adjusted. Just assume, guys, if at all we ask this guy to be implemented manually dividing the content into the columns is okay. We can divide that guy by giving into percentage width. But the challenging part is according to the width of the content, according to the width of the page, the content has to get adjusted. That's a very, very too much of complex part. You need to depend upon the JavaScript, etc. and all. But by using this multi-column layout, the first CSS property, column hyphen count, you can specify any number of columns what you wanted. Okay. And by default, it maintains some gap between the columns. If at all you want to control the gap between the columns, we have something called as column hyphen gap property. Under this, you say some 20 pixel. So now if you reload the page, it's already 20 pixel. Let us say something called as some 30 pixel. Now if you reload the page, see here, the space between the columns is taking it as whatever the space you give. Okay, column hyphen gap. In the same way, for example, if you want to put some lines, the border lines between the columns, now you have something called as column hyphen rule hyphen style, something called as solid. Implies solid type of border you would like to see. See here, solid type of border you're going to get. If you want to control the width of this border, so you can simply say rule hyphen width, something called as 3 pixel. 3 pixel of width, the border has to be added. 3 pixel by default, I guess. Okay, let me make it as 10 pixel. Reload the page. You see here, this is how the border width is getting added. You can even control the color of this guy by using column rule hyphen color, something called as red color. Now, if you come back and reload the page, this is how it is. In the same way, if you see here, we are using 3 properties in order to specify the border, etc. and all. The shortcut format what you have is you can simply specify column hyphen rule. Under that, you can specify 2 pixel, say some solid, say something called as green. Instead of defining these multiple properties, you can even go with that. If you reload the page, this is how it is. Okay. So whenever the columns are dividing within the page, in the multi-column layout, there are two ways you can actually divide this here. The first thing is you can specify how many columns you wanted. Doesn't matter what is the width of the container, the page will make sure that the content will be divided into equally 4 columns. The other option what you have is you can even specify the width of the column. So you can specify column hyphen width, something called as 150 pixels. So what does this mean? By default, whatever the space you have, I will automatically divide into multiple 150 pixels. Now, once you minimize this guy, see if the space is not enough, see here in this space, it is creating 5 multi-column layouts. But now when I'm reducing this guy, see 3 has come. Based on the space what it is having, it is automatically dividing that guy into such type of columns with whatever the width you have given. Okay, so these are the CSS properties using which, the column count, column gap, column rule, column width. So these are the CSS properties using which we can render the content in the form of multi-column wise, as like in your newspaper content, something like that. Okay, only for the text content, guys. If you ask me a question, can I add containers inside these columns? No. In order to do that, there is other way, which we have flex containers or grid containers. But by using this column layout, we can only add the multi-line text content in the form of column wise. That's it. Okay. Okay. Sonali, you have a question. Sir, you said us that instead of using percentages, we can also use from and to. But I think in percentages, we can add different CSS properties. While in from and to, we can only twice. Am I correct? Exactly, Sonali. In case of your from and to, what you can only specify is from when it is starting, what properties need to be added, and once it is end, how it has to look like. That's it. Nothing else. That is the reason mostly we suggest to go with the percentages, but not the from and to. But I just want to show you that there is other way also. Hope I'm clear. Am I clear, Sonali? Okay. So fine, guys. So any other questions on this? Okay.
No, sir.
Let's pause for today,
No, sir.
guys. We'll meet again back on tomorrow. Tomorrow,
Okay,
I
sir.
will be talking about what all the properties, transformations is done, transitions is done, keyframes is done, and multi-column layout is done. So tomorrow, I will start with gradients. Gradients in the sense there are 2 types of gradients, linear gradient and radial gradient, using which you could able to render multiple colors as a single background for a single container. So how do we do that? We'll see. And following with the grid layout and flexible layout, which are very, very important concepts of your CSS3. So make sure everybody is there. Tomorrow I'm going to continue with that. Okay.
Okay,
So
sir.
apologies for closing it early, guys, but yeah, I hope you can understand. Okay. Thanks, guys. Bye for today and have a good night.
Good night,
Good
sir.
night, sir.